Where is the president?
Mkani wewe sasa. Nishitalo ni tu mtambo ni speaker tu.
There's no paper that is usually brought that students to sign. If there's anything that we usually sign in the Senate, it is the attendance sheet.
They know that we must fight back.
Congress are only allowed to consult themselves at this time. The administration should also consult themselves.
Let me make clear of that.
In fact, at one point we even moved out of the Senate. That will not be quoted.
This is Technical University of Mombasa. Well, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whatever time watching this vlog. My name is Cedric Wandera, and this is the 254 Reporters. Well, as I have said, good morning, but then on this side, it has to be understood that on Wednesday, 18th September, the year 2019, it has not really been a good morning. Well, why hasn't it been a good morning? I have a team here to discuss more on why it hasn't been a good morning. Well, these people require they need no introduction, but it will only be fair enough for our freshmen and ladies who have just joined us in the university to know them. So let me give them a chance to introduce themselves from the far end.
Harris Yuri, Harris Sani Machako Sela, and the current academics.
Nina Masanga, my sports and entertainment. Mwamuri Moses Ngudi, known as Mr. King Someri. I'm the current Secretary General.
Fatuma Salmaro, the Finance Secretary, Technical University of Mombasa.
Eugene Owino Musomo, the Combination High Secretary, TOM, and I'm also known as the Congress Gold.
Okay, now you guys, Mnaka, you are so tense. Why? Feel relaxed, feel at home. So, you're fine. Let me also recognize the presence of my counterparts in the 254 Reporters on the other side of the studio. And also, let me allow them to introduce themselves.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Cedric Wandera. So on this side of Studio B, we are three actually, and we'll be representing the comrades at the Technical University of Mombasa. So we had to ask them questions through the various channels that we could reach them, and so they streamed in some questions that will be relaying to you, of which they need to get the feedback. So with me, on this side I have one gentleman and a lady. I'll give them a chance to introduce themselves.
I'm Charles Edwin from the Faculty of Humanities, currently as a career at the University of Mombasa.
Well, and my name is Jeff Mwangi, alias known as Catalyst. Yeah, I am a student of Mathematics and Finance under the Department of Mathematics and Physics, the Faculty of Pure and Applied Health. Thank you, and welcome to our discussion today about the new academic policy. Back to you, Cedric.
Okay, thank you so much, Catalyst, from our Studio B. Now, back to the main studio. I don't even want to waste more time. Let's just get into it. So, now let's start with the academic secretary. Like, what is this new academic policy? What is it?
The new academic policy that has just been introduced. There are a number of changes that we have. One subsection that brings a lot of question. That brings a lot of unrest, which states that one cannot proceed to the next academic year with any pending issue. What do I mean by pending issue? with either a soup, a special, or any missing marks. So previously, student could proceed to the next academic session with this pending issue. But at the final level, we cannot proceed to the final semester with this pending issue. So students were programming themselves that when they reach the final level is when they will have done all this pending issue. But introducing it really without clear communication, that's why it.
Okay, we'll come to that to that. Is it a sub-article or what is it called? Is it a clause or is it a sub-article or is it a chapter? What is it? It's a clause. Okay, we'll come back. We'll read the whole thing just shortly. But then, before we go to that, the accommodation secretary, you interact more with the comrades, more than maybe all of us here, because they have many issues and they address them to you. So what is this new policy going to affect them, or how is it going to affect them, both directly and indirectly?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to give my sincere condolences, because this one is like a death commerce academic life if this policy will be allowed to prevail in our institution. All I can say about it is that what our school is trying to do to comrades is that they are not giving room for failures. Failing does not mean that you cannot make it in life. In fact, most successful people in the world have made it after failing. You only realize your mistake after you make a failure. So, but here, you fail an exam, then you're not allowed to proceed to the next academic year. Even a single unit, sometimes even on HIV, which is totally reproduction. So, personally, I think this is very, very unfair to comrades. Then another thing I would like to say that most comrades are saying is that, like you'll always say earlier on during our campaigns, that change is a process. Change is not an event. When you want to bring a transition, or you want, let's say you are playing football. You started this game, the first half you played well. Second half you started and reached the 70th minute. Then somebody wants to come and impose new rules that have not been there. It will bring a lot of concussions. So we are telling the administrations that if they must implement this policy, but for the current students who are in school, for us, whatever we are aware of is the old policy that you've known, that you can proceed to the next academic year with less than or up to 3 supplementaries. In exclusion with the people who are going to the final year of their semester. Then another thing concerning this new policy. We have got several universities we have consulted them. And the main thing there, or the main thing that has ratified their universities, is that you can continue with your progression until your final year. That is when, if you had even accumulated some fails or some supplementaries this side, you can clear them before you move to your final year. But here comes a situation where a fresher or the first years or the promoted from force, they enter the institution, then they do an exam. Then some lecturers also have got personal issues. Sometimes you are beautiful and he or she tries to coax or to cajole you into the other way around. You refuses. Then out of his own or her own intentions, he or she fails you in this exam. Then the school comes again and punishes you for only this single unit. So we are telling the institution that if they must introduce this system, or this system that has ratified the air with a lot of headache and skirmish and fracas, they must introduce it to the people who will be joining this university coming next year. I'm talking of the Form 4s who are currently in the high schools.
Well, let me just get to know this. If at all this policy, there's a place, okay, from unknown sources, again I'll quote unknown sources, it's saying that this policy was drafted and signed by the student union. But then before we get to answer that, let's get to our audiences to know what we're talking about. So let's cross over to Studio B and get our own Mercy J. Kosgei to read for us the policy.
According to the new policy, which had been signed by the TUMSA, it states categorically that Section 6, Clause 11 of academics, if a student fails half of the unit, he or she will be required to repeat the year and pay school fees as required. The second one, if a student does the ordinary exam and fails, he will be given a chance to do the supplementary to a maximum of 1, as opposed to the old policy where he or she is eligible up to 3 SOOPs. In the third one, in any case a student fails supplementary, he or she shall retake the unit, register for it, be in class, do tasks and exams, and he or she may have advantage of any grade, that is A, B, C, D or E. Students shall not be allowed to continue to the next academic year with pending issues relating to exams, be it in first year or second year or third year, as opposed to the old policy where you can do the supplementary special when you want to do them.
Well, I'm sure all of you are well conversant with that document. Yeah, everybody has seen it here. Now, Bwana Secretary General, who signs this? Okay, let me just start by who came up with this policy?
And make it clear to students that whenever the academic policy is being reviewed, no student is allowed in that. Actually, the COD at the member of Senate, they were in Cliff when that came to the academic policy when it was reviewed. And then this concern that students going to COD and the COD informed me, feeding them the wrong information that student leaders they were there. We sent a document. Is a total lie to us. Let's say that, for example, that whenever that we are in for the Senate, we are two representing from the student side. We are representing 15,000 students in the panel of the Senate. Whenever that the law is being passed in the Senate, we are required even to vote for that law to be passed. You get that we are two from the student side, and we have the COD against us, almost 21. As you understand, we have 21 departments in this institution. So this information going around that the student leaders were there, we signed. We want to tell NCOD, telling students that we signed to prove to us and document showing our signatures that really student leaders were there, and we signed that document. And rumor going around, actually it is a total lie as per students leaders from our side.
Okay, thank you. Now maybe to the sports secretary, and maybe you can answer it with the finance secretary, sir. So I have a question. Most of you guys have been saying that the new policy should not be implemented on these students. But then, what about the coming students? Are they not enough comrades, or what happens to them?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Seth. Usually, when we go when we visit when we have a study case, let's take games. It is very hard to actually come up with a game at the 45th minute of the game. You introduce a rule that has not happened. After 45 minutes, alafu nasema that after you have received 10 goals, then you'll have a penalty. It has never happened. So what we are trying to say is that in case this has to be put into place, we are not against policies, but the time they are being introduced. Like we did our exams, we have started for our exams, we went home. Back in our minds, we know that the police exercise is the one that we are used to. Then we come back and whatever we get from the administration that cannot proceed next year. So in case that's been introduced, let it start afresh. With those who are going to come in, probably next year. Already the guys that joined this year, they have been introduced into the policy we are aware of.
Okay, well, now to Madam Finance. there's this issue that was it number 3 or something? Maybe we'll okay.
Maybe Cedric, let me give a scenario whereby
Yes.
that we understand this new curriculum which we want to introduce. That we say that if any change is made,
Yes.
it should start from the primary, actually. So when this curriculum is being introduced, we are being told that it will start by what? By the new children who are going to begin what? Their journey of education. In that, now here, we are told that this has come to pass. It is a law and it will be effective immediately. That would happen. So let us, the institution understand that a change is a process and which is gradual. You cannot suppose that you cannot bring any law and you will be expected to be effective with immediate effect. That one we are going to lie to ourselves, and we as student leaders, we may stand from the fence and watch what will happen.
Okay, speaking to what will happen to the administration. Today morning there was, should I call them demonstrations or sort of demonstrations, because there were police shooting in the air to disperse the crowds. Now, we'll come to that later. You'll come to answer what is the state of those students who are arrested in the morning. But then to Madam Finance, in this clause, number 1, it says, if a student fails half the units, he or she will be required to repeat the year and pay school fees as required. Now, people have been saying that this is a way of having students pay money, like it's a business. What are your thoughts of that?
Okay, thank you, Cedric, for the opportunity and also for welcoming us into your radio. My view on that policy, actually, I'm against. Also, being a leader, I'm also a comrades. As well, it will also affect the other comrades, it will also affect me. My point on that point, first I will have said, the way my general have said, these things will have been introduced from the word go. Not when we are almost, there's always a journey. When I'm used to be, I will just say it was our tradition. I cannot graduate if I have some pending issues from first year, second year, third year. Now that during let me just put back to our January to April series exam, at least they will have brought that policy. At least I'll be knowing when I'll be doing my exam, it's up to me to work hard so that I don't fail this unit or one unit because there's a policy which is going to hinder me to proceed to my another academic year. You see, so about that, it's also funny that the policy is going to affect the 3/4 of our student. Just imagine I won't proceed to my maybe second academic year. I'll have to remain back. Yeah, that's repeating. Maybe I have a one retake. So it means for all those semesters I'll only be attending one unit. It's also a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time for sure. I think it will be good if they will abide to the past. And they will have at least bring our tradition, which I used to. Okay, I'll proceed to my next academic year, but I have a unit that I'll be attending the previous class that I was. So it's up to me. I'll be having a loaded. So it's up to me to the next time to work out in order to have no any retake. That's my point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That has been the first.
There's a clause saying that the student is going to pay fee, the amount of it. Let's say that I have one unit to repeat that I'm supposed to pay the full amount. On a humanitarian ground, we don't know actually the status of the background of this student. How do you expect, even, let's say for example, this student had missed a certain exam because of the finances. Now this is the same student who are telling that because he or she paid that unit, one unit to repeat and pay the school fee. It's like now the bottleneck we are introducing to them actually is like now we wish them to commit suicide because of depression. Yeah. On a humanitarian ground, maybe that clause should be looked at into different angles so that we understand really the background of these students.
Yeah.
Will he or she sustain that situation? Actually,
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Now that has been the first part of our discussion with the TUMSA, is the Technical University of Mombasa Student Association. And let's cross over to the other side, the Studio B, and hear what the comrades are saying. Sir? Okay, take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Cedric. Well, in Studio B, this is where we have some questions. Maybe not all of them, but maybe some from the comments. According to our questions, you have answered some are unanswered. Maybe we'll take one question from one person, and then maybe you can take a chance to respond. I don't know the criteria that you're going to use, because some of the questions. So anyway, go ahead and answer this question.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so there'll be one question from me, and then one question. Well, the question is a question that was sent by one of the comrades. I don't know whether it's rumors or whether it's true. Did any of the TUMSA official meet with the VC early, maybe in the morning, maybe morning hours? And if the meeting was held, what was the agenda? That is my question. I'm representing the government. Okay, maybe let's get another question from Mercy Jacobs again, first of all.
Okay, thank you. And who are those people who signed that policy? Because according to the COD, he quoted that I told your student leaders during the passing of this policy that do you know the impact it is going to cause those whom you represented? None of our TUMSA leaders responded. They signed it blindly. This was a part from the COD pen appliance.
Thank you. Seemingly there's a betrayal from you as our executives, because we heard that one of you signed the policy, and as you know, before a policy is signed, you as the executives are to know how the steps were taken and who signed the policy,